Good evening, my Real News Midday TV family. Welcome back to the channel for another news update for January 8, 2024. And in the news this evening, policeman charged with murder in Clarendon remanded. The Clarendon-based policeman charged with the murder of a man in the parish in December was remanded Monday when he appeared before the Clarendon Parish Court. Constable Jamaica Ingram is charged for the murder of Danilo, a resident of Clarendon. Constable Ingram's girlfriend, Shamisha Simpson, and another individual, Sheldon Harris, are also charged in the case. They were remanded until Thursday when the court is expected to hear an application for bail. The constable and his co-accused were taken into custody following an investigation into the murder of Mr. Lowe, whose body was found near Longville Park Boulevard on December 27. The body had bullet wounds. The three are charged with murder, using a firearm to commit a felony, possession of a prohibited weapon, and stockpiling prohibited weapons. The Jamaica Constabulary Force had reported that the police constable was also under investigation for possible breaches of the Firearms Act. This after more than 300 rounds of ammunition were seized in the investigation. Man who escaped the St. Mary lockup charged following recapture. One of the 7 prisoners who escaped from the Oracabessa lockup in St. Mary last month has been charged with escaping custody. Linton Bailey, who surrendered to the police last week, has also been charged with malicious destruction of government property arising from the damage to the cell during the jailbreak. He was charged on the weekend. Bailey, who was awaiting trial on a charge of shooting with intent following a reported confrontation with the police along the Prospect Main Road in St. Mary on November 29 last year, was among 7 high-risk prisoners who escaped custody on December 21. The other escapees who remain at large were awaiting trial for shooting, rape, armed robberies and murder, including the 2020 murder of well-known St. Andrew businessman Roger Chang. Police identify one of 2 men shot dead in Harborview. One of the 2 men who were shot dead in Bayshore Park in Harborview, St. Andrew on Sunday has been identified. He is 33-year-old Anthony Blake, otherwise called Nick, a resident of the Texaco community. The other victim remains unidentified. It is reported that about 12:30 p.m. on Sunday, residents heard a gunfire in the Texaco community near the cement company. Shortly afterwards, Blake was seen running from a group of armed thugs along Sir Florizel Glassbowl Boulevard. He was shot by the hoodlums and was later pronounced dead at the hospital. The body of the second victim was later found with bullet wounds in bushes in the Texaco community. The police have not yet disclosed a motive for the double murder. More than 20 spent shells were found at the scene. Banks are trying to resolve ABM issues affecting customers, says JBA. The Jamaica Bankers Association says financial institutions across the island are trying to solve the ongoing issues facing customers, including long lines, a shortage of cash, and a malfunction in automated banking machines. The parliamentary opposition has called for the Bank of Jamaica to intervene in the growing crisis and accused the banks of failing to fulfill their obligations to their customers as required by law. Speaking with the news on Monday, President of the Jamaica Bankers Association, Audrey Togwell Henry, said the banks have taken note of the frustration of their customers and are working to resolve the issues. According to Mrs. Togwell Henry, there should be an improvement in the service in the next few weeks.
We are faced with some unique challenges right now, which we have discussed, and there are a number of key issues. However, individual institutions are working to address their unique issues, and we want to make sure that all the customers across the sector know that we are doing our best to address the issues that we're faced with. I also am aware that institutions have been making public statements as it relates to ABM and ABM availability for their customers. And so we expect that with all the effort that the players in the industry are placing customer experience, customer convenience, and access to cash, that the issues will be solved over the next few weeks. because I do know that as an industry, we have deployed over 900 ABMs right across the island. And so there might be a specific community or a specific pocket that doesn't have ABMs. But broadly speaking, I would say compared to even other countries, the ABM distribution is quite significant. We're very concerned about the vandalism because what it means is that when an ABM machine is vandalized, it is taken out of commission, and the process to replace it is very long. And also it creates an increased cost of operation. So vandalism, theft, crime are all controllable, which we are encouraging all Jamaicans to stand up and speak out against these issues.
Golding defends a shadow cabinet reshuffle, new appointees are confident. Opposition leader Mark Golding has hit back at the critics about his reshuffling of his 26-member shadow cabinet, saying that it was strategically drafted. Political commentator Dr. Paul Ashley, in an interview with the news on Saturday evening, said that the previous shadow cabinet was ineffective, and in his opinion, this one will be no different. Former PNP Member of Parliament Lloyd B. Smith, who also spoke with the news, said Mr. Golding had a difficult set of options in selecting spokespersons for his cabinet. But Mr. Golding, in an interview at the party's media mingle on Sunday night, defended his decision, stating that he has received positive feedback from diverse sources who felt that the breakout of the portfolios shows an understanding of the issues at hand. I think the shadow cabinet is configured really to send a signal that our approach when we're in government is going to be to tackle the issues facing the country, not in the traditional way that it has been looked at in the past, which has really failed, but rather looking at it in a fresh way that takes into account the interlocking impact that different things have on important aspects of our life, and grouping the cabinet in a way that it can be tackled effectively, he asserted. Responding to a suggestion that Dr. Angela Brownburg should have been appointed as spokesperson for local government instead of foreign and regional affairs, Mr. Golding said she has already been engaged in activities relating to the new portfolio. I think Angela has a strong interest in international affairs, and if you talk to her, you would see she has a progressive international outlook and its foreign and regional affairs, and she's a committed regionalist. We've been building good relationships with our sister parties in the region and with the diaspora, so I think she'll do a great job, the opposition leader insisted. He added that Natalie Nita Garvey, who has previously served as a councillor, will do an effective job in manning the local government portfolio. Mr. Golding acknowledged that being in the shadow cabinet is more than sending out press releases as issues arise. I mean, I'm on the road and others are on the road. You know, I tour constituencies and the parishes. We were having weekly rallies for the last 2 to 3 months after our conference, and it paid dividends because the last polls that have been published recently, which had us 3% ahead, those polls were done right after the JLP conference, and they didn't get any bounce. And that's because of what we've been doing as opposition on the ground, he said. While he acknowledged that some spokespersons could be more active, the PNP president said the reconfigured shadow cabinet will provide an opportunity for people to step up their game. Some of the newly appointed spokespersons to the shadow cabinet have expressed their confidence that their selections will be to the benefit of Jamaicans. Former cricketer Wavell Hines, who has been assigned Labour and Sports, Dr. Deborah Hicklin, Culture and Creative Industries, and Patricia Duncan Sutherland, Social Transformation and Social Protection, have shared how they will be approaching their new roles. Mr. Hines said his background as a trade union representative locally, regionally, and internationally, and being current president of the West Indies Players Association, means he is affair with the happenings in the sports and the labor sectors. For Dr. Deborah Hicklin, her appointment will afford her the opportunity to ask pertinent questions about the culture and the creative industries, which she said have been the stepchildren of policy and governance. Meanwhile, Patricia Duncan Sutherland said the social transformation and the social protection portfolio will create the pathway to hope for Jamaicans. She added that it will require significant engagement at the community level to educate Jamaicans on government programs. Audio